Cartier is becoming more and more popular, and it's a good thing. People are starting to like smaller watches, rectangular watches, watches made of solid gold, which is totally opposite to the common stainless steel sports watch. Did I say
a Rolex? Rolex!
yuck? But because of that, things are getting a little bit crazy with Cartier. Sometimes you go to Cartier AD and you cannot even like visit the Cartier AD. They're gonna ask you, "Do you have an appointment?" You actually make in to the AD. There is no watches there. There is nothing in stock. So in this video, first of all, I will tell you how to buy Cartier, how to actually buy it, how to buy affordable Cartier. And what's important, how to get so much more for your money. We're not going to talk about like Seiko Tank watch or JLC reverse. So no, you have TGV for that. We're going to talk about something much more interesting. So keep watching. If you want to buy Cartier, even if they are not at your favorite AD, you go to a gray market. So for example, let's go to a biggest gray market dealer in the world, Joma Shop, and Cartier is there. You can just go and buy it. I wouldn't say it's that much more expensive than MSRP, but you pretty much for about $3,000 you can get yourself a very nice Cartier, but you will be limited to what you are getting for this $3,000. So the biggest limitations are that you're gonna get a quartz watch. It's not gonna be a mechanical watch. And also it's gonna be a steel watch. You're not gonna get this solid gold watch that you want, and you want solid gold. If you want to keep it affordable, so the obvious idea is, I collect vintage watches, is to go vintage Cartier. And yes, you're gonna get a little bit more in vintage Cartier market, but unfortunately there are two pretty bad things here. So first of all, vintage Cartier is not documented. And there is pretty much no research. You would be surprised, but there is pretty much, you cannot find any research in vintage Cartier area that would be available. So, and there are a lot of fakes, and there are a lot of fakes. It's not just modern fakes, but old fakes. So the whole Mazda Cartier was created just because there were so many fakes in 80s. So it's an old problem. So unfortunately, because there is no research, you don't really know how the watch is supposed to look like. The second bad thing about vintage Cartier is that prices, even so, I looked several years ago to buy myself Cartier, way before this like spike in Cartier popularity, and even at that time, so I looked if I would get a kind of nice Mazda Cartier, it would be about $700, which is okay, but still you can get so much more. Like, what if you want solid gold watch? What if you want mechanical watch? That's what this video will be about. If you like Cartier, what exactly do you like? What attracts you to Cartier? So there are two main things in your love for Cartier, right? One thing is design. There are these amazing Cartier designs, at least designs that you think are Cartier designs. And the second thing is brand. Cartier is this amazing brand with a lot of history, a lot of heritage. So let's talk about it. So when people think Cartier, they associate Cartier design with two things. One thing is rectangular watch. Modern collectors even have a different word for a rectangular watch. They call it a tank watch, which you see a tank Cartier tank. So let me talk a little bit about this myth, because what people don't realize that if you look at pre-war period, in United States, the most common watches that men were buying were rectangular watches. If you look at Switzerland, that was a round watch. So it's not Cartier, it's American watch is a rectangular watch. So what you see here on the screen is a catalog from 1939 of a famous American brand. And you can see the watches that were available for men in 1939. So you would be like, if you don't know what if you don't believe me, what I just said, you would think like, oh, this is like old Cartier catalog. No, this has nothing to do to Cartier. That's an American brand, and that's what they're making in 1939. There is pretty much only one round watch there. Everything else is what a modern collector would call a tank watches. Another thing which is known about Cartier is this crazy design. For example, let's look at this asymmetric, right? But when we are looking at asymmetric, let's take a look at another watch from the same brand that I just showed you, the catalog, but it's like from a different year. And that watch is called a Blade. Let's look at different crazy Cartier design, Cintree dual time, right? But let's also compare it to the watch called Sacron from the same American brand. Let's do it again. Another crazy watch, I don't know how to pronounce it, that's basically a turtle in French. But let's compare it to Glen Curtis from the same brand. Let's try this one. I have no idea how to pronounce it. And let's compare it to Oval from the same American brand. Let's look at this Cartier and let's compare it to Piping Rock from the same American brand. Let's look at this watch, like very cool watch, right? But let's compare it to K475 from the same American brand. Let's look at this Cartier and let's compare it to Summit 2 from the same American brand. And now let's look at heavy hitters, Cartier Crash. But let's compare it to this iconic, like one of the most iconic watches from the same brand. You probably already figured out the brand I'm talking about. But let's not name the brand just yet. There is another thing, and another very important thing that attracts people to Cartier is brand. It's a very cool brand, very respected brand with a lot of history. So let's talk about Cartier brand a little bit, because right now it's very, very respectable brand. And a lot of these high-end Swiss brands are very, very respectable today. But if you look at the time when I'm showing these American watches, it's like pre-war and slightly after-war period. People in US, they wanted to buy American watches. People paid top dollar for American brands. So at that time, Swiss was considered something like a cheap alternative to American watches. So for example, if you wanted to make your watch cheaper, maybe you would buy a Swiss movement or like some Swiss components. If you cannot afford American watch, maybe you would buy full Swiss watch. But people who want quality and nice watch, they always wanted to get an American watch. Even if you listen to John Reardon, Patek had big issues selling in US at that time just because it was a Swiss brand. There was no, so first of all, there was no brand recognition, but second, if people knew it's a Swiss brand, it's like, it's not respected a lot. Now, if you look at American watches that people actually wanted to buy at that time in US, and people who would be proud to wear an American watch, the top American brand was Hamilton. So if money was no object, you would buy yourself Hamilton. Hamilton was such a cool and such an expensive and such a luxury brand. Like, it was crazy. Like, when they just launched these applied gold numerals on the dial, only applied gold numerals cost as much as a high quality men's watch from another respectable brand. Hamilton was so crazy, so it's not just they were full in-house and they did in-house movements, in-house, like everything. They did oils in-house. They did rubies in-house. They did hairsprings in-house. It was crazy. Everything that was like full 100% American crazy watch, because that's what people wanted. That's what was luxury at that time. That's what people who, if they could afford, that's what they wanted to buy. Or, like, at least if you cannot afford, that's what you were aspiring to own a Hamilton. Now, another thing, there are some things that Hamilton is actually has, it's much better than Cartier. And there are two things. So one thing, Cartier is not known for making movements, right? Cartier is usually buying some like generic movements. It's just known for, first of all, known for jewelry. Second, it's known for these like designs, but it's not known for movement. Hamilton is known for movements. Hamilton made the best movement, the best American movements. And for example, Hamilton 770, it's not just the best American movement ever made. That's probably one of the best like movements ever created. It's such an amazing movement. On Hamilton 980 and 982 was such a cool movement that Hamilton actually purchased the whole watch brand just to get that movement. Like, this whole, like, the Hamilton movements are legendary, absolutely legendary. Another thing what Hamilton has over Cartier brand is Cartier is not known for innovations. Cartier invented nothing. Hamilton has two, probably the biggest innovations in horology. One is Hamilton came up with the world's first electric watch. That like, think about how big this innovation was. That was the first watch powered by battery. Yes, it was fully mechanical watch, but that watch was powered by battery, not by the mainspring. And also, Hamilton made another huge innovation. Hamilton came up with the world's first LED watch. Hamilton brand right now, yeah, so Swatch kind of almost ruined it. But Hamilton brand has so much history, so much heritage. Hamilton brand is cool, very, very cool. You should be absolutely proud to wear Hamilton, at least vintage Hamilton, maybe even more than you should be proud to wear that Cartier watch. So I just wanted to show you an alternative. I wanted to show you something undiscoverable that people don't talk about yet. Consider Hamilton. And if you like Hamilton or vintage watches, check out my channel. There are a lot of videos about vintage watches, including those cool Hamiltons, and there will be more. And subscribe. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.